right, guys. Go ahead. Questions for Coach.
I mean, Orange County's a good team. We were better, much better the second half. Disappointed in how we played the first half. You know, a lot of guys were saving steps. You know, we let the game get stretched. I mean, the ball goes wide, we got to get guys over. We're getting beat off the dribble, we're getting beat off the pass. It's what I've been warning them. Our defending's got to get better. We were loose, and we said it was going to be a much different game than last week. All week we said this team can pass. They're good in transition. It's not going to be power soccer. Second half, we got on top of the ball more consistently. We got numbers around the ball. When they dribbled, we had a second defender there. But we need to do it from the beginning. The first half of the game, the ball went wide. If you're playing two forwards, one of them's got to get over. They can't stand in the middle of the field. And they're not playing three center backs. They're playing in the back four. So they have two center backs, and we have two forwards. So with that type of pace, teams are sending multiple guys into the middle of the field. Your center backs can't just keep jumping in the midfield. You're going to get beat over the top with good movement. You can't keep two forwards above the ball and not get one helping around the ball and the other collapsing. Like, it takes a lot of effort. Just like when you play a target two guys higher, you're not going to leave three guys on the wrong side of the ball. At times today, they just played the ball out wide. And because we had 2 and 1, God bless Luke and Perrin. Luke steps. Or Perrin steps. But they have that should be a second forward. A forward coming over and Robbie or Charles, whoever that, coming over and clogging that up, and the other forward tucking in. And we're staying and leaving all that space, which leads to yellow, it leads to multiple fouls. I felt that some of the fouls were minimal contact, but when you foul that much, you're going to pick up yellows, because the ref kept saying, you guys are fouling a lot, and I'm going to give a card. So, you know, we were our own worst enemy in the first half. We didn't work off the ball. You know, our defending wasn't nearly good enough, and, you know, we had to make more desperate recoveries, you know. It's really bad for us to give up a free header at that time of the half. You know, we're bigger. We're not always bigger, but today we were bigger overall. And, you know, they were getting up early, though. They were attacking every ball, competing well in the air. They had a few guys that could climb, but we had some big boys at the back post area, and nobody attacked the ball, and now it's 1-0. But there were restarts early in the half where they won the initial ball. So last week against a much bigger team, we were locked in on every aerial challenge, and then this week against a smaller team, we didn't have that intensity to dominate in the air. Disappointing. I mean, that's how you end up with draws and not wins. You know, and today's a game we needed a good solid 90 minutes and we get 3 points against a good team. Instead, it's them getting a good result on the road, because Ty in Pittsburgh, when you travel across country, is pretty good. We dropped points at home. So, like I said, you know, second half was pretty good. still think there's some balls in the box that we're not active enough. You know, there's a free-kick Robbie hit that's bouncing just outside the back post, and all the runs are middle of the goal, near post, and there's nobody attacking the back stick. I think Betzo was on the back side, but he was hanging out like he wanted like a straight look. But there's nobody running in, framing the goal, and we talk about it. You know, if he doesn't frame the goal on the first goal, we don't get that one. But there's balls dropping, there's rebounds, you can keep calling for handballs. Every time we flick a ball on and hit someone in the midsection, it's not a handball. I'd rather us, every time it hits someone in the midsection, who's slashing in, getting a toe on the next ball. I mean, we have to be able to get rebounds off of this. We had them in back plenty. You know, I see teams blocking shots and crosses against us. I don't feel like we're doing that consistently. I know today they didn't. You know, it's more of a transition game. You know, we were able to avoid them catching us. They're as good as just about anyone in transition. We were able to avoid it, but they certainly looked dangerous. They certainly drew fouls, which affected the substitution decisions. I mean, I made the decision before half. One of the forwards has got to come off because they both have yellows. And I'm not gambling on both of them. And we're playing a man down. Augie seems to raise the temperature of the other team's defenders and the refs a little bit more frequently. So unfortunately, we had to, we sacrificed him to try to clean that up. We knew Bertan, we weren't going to try to stretch for a full 90. So it was good to have ready to come on. Typically wouldn't necessarily be moving Robbie Mertz into a two-forward setup. Tactically, we wanted to play the same way, just do a better job in the first half, which I think we did. Which begs back to the question. What was our pressure like in the first half? Why aren't we getting in the right areas so that we have pressure